became one of these conditions where I either binged or I was on a diet, and there was really no normal place in between for me and eating. Low-calorie items, fat-free items, stevia, aspartame, diet pop, I either had all of the diet foods in my house or, and that's all I ate. So those are the only things that I brought into my house, unless I was planning a binge. And then I'd bring, exactly what I wanted into the house, and I'd bring in a lot of it, and I would try and eat all of it in a short little period of time or in that night, because I didn't want to bring it over into the next day, because the next day I'd be dieting. So you don't want the foods to actually stick around for more than a night, because the next day usually was a planned diet, or my justification for it, the way I was eating the way I was at that time. Probably grade 5, 6-ish, and it didn't work really well because I was not somebody who could throw up, but I did exercise purge. So I remember one time in my life where I would eat something that was 50 calories, and I would get on a treadmill and I would run until I burned 50 calories. And actually I'd burn 150 calories for good measure, just in case I decided I wanted another rice cake. That starvation that really hefty starvation was a one-time thing, and I can't even remember how long it was. It was probably about a 4 or 5 month period, and I had lost an incredible amount of weight in a very short period of time. Diet forms, though, I did do as well. I've been on diets that involved 600 calories a day and injections, and I've been on diets where I was hungry the entire day, and in between I was just trying to keep convincing myself that, I just had to be hungry. Huge self-loathing and a real dislike of myself for being such a failure, to not be able to stay with 600 calories a day. It just became a way of not dealing with what I was truly feeling, and of not labeling what I was truly feeling, and of not, listening to what my body may have been wanting to tell me about, certain things. I mean, the body's very incredible, I'm learning now, and it's amazing how it can tell you and lead you in certain directions. It gives you so many incredible signs and signals, and it needs to be listened to, because it does have wisdom. It does have some wisdom, and it is there to protect you, and it is a part of you, and you need to learn how to listen to that. So I think that's the thing that I'm learning a lot now, but before, I think there was a complete disconnect. I didn't know, I really probably didn't know how to deal with feelings. I mean, I'd cry sometimes out of frustration, because why am I so huge, and why am I so, out of control, and why am I not disciplined enough, and why am I not smart enough to be able to figure this out, or why am I not, all these terrible labels that I think women do themselves, that aren't true. But that become a way of thinking when you're beating yourself up all the time because you're not hitting that ideal or that norm, and you just can't seem to get things in the right balance. I thought an eating disorder was anorexia or bulimia. I actually had no idea that binge eating was an eating disorder. I thought it was somebody who was just out of control and somebody who couldn't figure themselves out. I thought it was somebody who was, I just thought I was somebody who couldn't figure it out. And I was baffled as to why I couldn't figure it out, because, I knew I was intelligent. I mean, intellectually, I've always done very well. I'm horribly disciplined. I mean, I've held down 2 jobs for a very long time, and been to school full time while holding down 2 jobs, So discipline has never been an issue for me in any other factor or any other realm of life. But with food, I mean, just could not seem to get it together, could not develop that ideal body. Yeah, I'd lose weight, then I'd gain it, and then I'd lose weight, and then I'd gain it, and I'd just get heavier and heavier and heavier from year to year. No matter how much I tried to control it, it kept going in the wrong direction. And it wasn't for a lack of knowledge. I know every single diet that's out there. I've been on every single diet that's out there. It wasn't for a lack of exercise. I've exercised a ton. I know all different forms of exercise. I have I have 3 years of kinesiology degree. I used to teach aerobics. I have a massive background in this whole field of health and of eating and of exercise. But what I didn't realize was that the binge eating was an actual disorder. I had no concept of that. I just was blaming myself, thinking that I must be doing something wrong, that I can't figure this out. Yeah, it was a massive relief, and I think it was just, I was grateful that all of a sudden I had an explanation, that there might be something other than me just being undisciplined going on, that there might be something in my thinking that could be transitioned or transformed so that I would not have to struggle from day to day with food, obsessing about diets, dieting, journaling every single day, everything I ate, and this bizarre back forth love-hate relationship with food, myself, and exercise, and not being able to pull it together and fit the puzzle pieces together. There is help out there. People need to be a lot more caring and a lot more encouraging and a lot more friendly to each other. People need to support each other and find ways of being more nurturing and loving towards each other and towards yourself. I mean, I guarantee you, mooing at somebody or doing any of these ridiculous things that you see people do does not help somebody. And I know that I've had those things. I've been told I was fat. I've been told I was, overweight, and I did think I was worth less than what I truly am. And you don't need to tell somebody who's overweight, who's struggling, because they know, and you know what? They know the wrong thing, actually. What the truth is that they are incredibly kind. They are incredibly compassionate. They deserve to have something wonderful in their life, and they are a wonderful person, and they deserve to be cared for. They deserve to be encouraged. They don't deserve to be beaten down. People don't need to be beaten down. It doesn't help anybody for any reason. This affects people's lives. This affects women's and men's lives. Counseling can really free you from this. I've had friends who've almost died from different eating disorders. They were given a few days to live. I've had other friends who, they're amazing women. They work hard, they have beautiful families, they are incredibly productive members of society, and they don't even know that there's something out there that they can do that will give them health. If somebody's got a binge eating disorder, you need to deal with what's going on in your head that might not be productive for you. I would encourage, if the government doesn't fund it, I would definitely encourage people to find ways of getting into it, of finding, fundraising things, whatever they can to move forward into it. Sometimes the money isn't there, but I think the money is small compared to what you're going to spend dieting and buying diet books. I guarantee you the money to go to an eating disorder counselor is worth it. It's worth every penny, and it's going to cost you way less. I think there needs to be a lot more understanding. I think that I'm really concerned with how much the diet industry owns overweight women. It is absolutely horrific, because it's not the way to eat. 500 calories a day is not a way to eat. Restrictive diets where you're only allowed to eat certain things is not really a way to eat. Diets where you're counting on vitamin injections or pills is really not normal. It's not a way to eat. You can't sustain that for the rest of your life. I would like to see people being a lot more understanding. I'd like to see people understand that binge eating disorder is a disorder, and that it can be cured. It can